Some tanks now used by Russia for its invasion of Ukraine might be driving blind without the help of a small Italian manufacturing company called MT Maretti in central Italy. Russian leader Vladimir Putin bragged that Russia's T-90M Proryev was the best tank in the world. I'm Jeremy Durak, reporting for Kyiv Post. Italy's MT Maretti allegedly makes machine parts used in the high-tech sites for the T-90 tanks, and it's been able to skirt sanctions meant to stop this kind of tech from reaching Russia simply by setting up a subsidiary and selling the parts through them, a recent investigation by the Insider publication found. Ukrainian lawmaker and Parliamentary Finance Committee member Marian Zablotsky told Kyiv Post that the EU can and should better regulate the electronics that are finding their way into Russian missiles in much the same way as it regulates sausages. All meat products have a requirement called traceability. They are literally obligated to trace every sausage down to the field where the grain to feed that pig was produced. Why aren't we doing that with weapons? Zablotsky asked. Roughly 20,000 sanctions have been levied against Russia since February 2022, when it began its Ukraine invasion. But Russia is finding ways both to import and to export. Last year, Russia's economy reportedly returned to pre-invasion levels of growth and exports. One of the key loopholes has been that European sanctions legislation has specified that only finished products are restricted for trade. About a quarter of Russia's tax revenues are estimated to come from oil exports. About 16% of Russia's GDP still comes from crude oil. As Deutsche Welle reported, Hungary, Slovakia, and the Czech Republic are still receiving Russian crude oil through the southern branch of the Druzhba pipeline. Hungary and Slovakia are the most dependent, and their respective governments, incidentally, also have pro-Moscow leanings. Representatives in the metal industry have also successfully pushed for several exceptions to international sanctions. Iron ore and steel exports account for about 5% of Russia's GDP in 2023, or about $23 billion in revenue. According to GMK Center, a Ukrainian think tank focused on the steel trade, the EU imported 3.36 million tons of raw steel materials from Russia in the first half of 2024. Since Russia's full-scale 2022 invasion, countries with steel industries, like the Czech Republic, Belgium, and Italy, have all lobbied for steel sanctions relief, Politico reported. The importation of steel slabs by European countries was originally slated to cease this month per the 8th sanctions package. Instead, the actual import volumes of Russian slabs during October 2022 to September 2023 were 32.5% less than the established quote, GMK analyst Andrei Glushenko wrote in a December report. The EU's 12th package of sanctions extended the period to 2028, creating a significant loophole that has allowed some of Ukraine's closest European allies to continue pumping billions of euros into Moscow and continue the Kremlin's war in Ukraine. Oleg Ustenko, economic advisor to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, called it blood money. The United States has also sanctioned Russia, but its sanctions have reportedly been more effective. This might be because the US has been doing them longer and is therefore better at doing them, Konstantin Apolzer, a Swiss lawyer and former visiting scholar at Georgetown University, wrote in a report last year. The US sanctions framework is in many ways a well-oiled machine that has been running without greater changes for a long time, Apolzer wrote. The EU sanctions framework, in contrast, has seemingly unnoticed, since its comparatively recent inception, suffered from considerable insufficiencies. But some in the US envy those European businesses that continue to do business in Russia despite the invasion. Republican candidate and former President Donald Trump has said that he views Putin's invasion of Ukraine as more of a European problem. Trump has falsely claimed that the U.S. has provided more aid to Ukraine than Europe. The U.S. has provided both less aid in total to Ukraine than Europe and less aid as a percentage of its GDP than even the majority of individual European countries. However, he may have a point when it comes to sanctions. With the elections coming up, some U.S. politicians are pushing for more burden sharing across allies to prevent unequal impact on Americans and helping the Russians. As Zablotsky said, if the EU starts monitoring missile parts the way it monitors sausages, it could throw a wrench into the Russian war machine. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you'd like more content like this.